You know, I all the time look at new statements of this is the newest luxury, that is the newest luxury. And very recently, I attended a dialogue where they said, newest luxury is time. Let me today push back a little bit. I believe fundamentally, from the inner core of my heart, that stillness is the new luxury because it's the inner calm that you experience in every breath, every moment of being alive. That is the truest form of abundance that lets you experience life. So today's ultimate luxury is not time, money, or freedom, but actually a calm nervous system. Everybody is trying to do more, achieve more, scroll more. But here is the quiet truth. Peace is the rarest privilege now. Peace of heart, of mind, of emotions is really a very rare privilege. Very, very few people have it. Stillness is not a lack, it's a return to that profound peace, a return to who you are underneath the noise that the world has inflicted on you. And the reason for that sometimes is because the world glorifies motion, but it's your soul that craves stillness. Most of us live in a state of eternal internal hurry. Let me say that again. Most of us live in a state of eternal, that forever, internal hurry. Even if we are sitting, the mind is racing already of 1 million things that, or 1.6 million things that we need to do and handle. When you have that internal hurry, even when nothing is urgent, we feel pressure. We feel confused, or rather, we have confused stimulation with aliveness. True aliveness comes in the pause, in the silence. In yogic wisdom, this is called antarmon, or antar, inner, mon, silence, inner silence. It is where wisdom arises, not from adding stuff into life, but emptying. That's not you. That's not wholesome. Now, to quote one very well-known scientific fact is that parasympathetic nervous system is activated through deep rest and stillness. And it is the parasympathetic nervous system that enhances emotional regulation and learning. Calm is not a break from growth. It is the ground for it. Calm is the ground from which you can build anything profound. And stillness is the foundation or the root, I would say, of almost all sacred tradition. Every mystic withdrew before awakening. Look at the Buddha. He sat in stillness beneath the Bodhi tree. Christ wandered into the desert. Ramana Maharishi sat in silence for years, sometimes with open eyes, until people began gathering simply to be near that stillness that represented the presence of something profound, wisdom, even divine for that matter. Stillness was never passive. Stillness has always been potent, potentializing and potentifying consciousness. It's the space where the finite meets the infinite. The infinite of stillness embraces the finiteness of the world that we experience. It's a moment where thoughts dissolve and being becomes enough. Now, I don't like quoting too much Sanskrit, but nonetheless, there is a Sanskrit phrase that captures it beautifully. Yogaha chittavati nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of fluctuations of the mind or vagaries of the mind. Patanjali says this in his Yoga Sutras. In that stillness, we return to a natural state of peaceful, spacious, and awake. Internally awake, awake to the inner reality, not just awake to the world outside. And this spacious calm is not empty. It's full of awareness. Sometimes, people may think of calm as a blankness, a shutdown. But calm is not the absence of energy. It's the presence of coherence. It's the presence of an inner alignment. I remember in one morning in the hills sitting outside Athens. Oh, yes, Athens also has some hills. I mean, there were no notifications on my cell phone. There was no noise. It was a Sunday. Just sun falling on the stone and an inner stillness in the air. In that moment, I felt a deep wealth of stillness. Not the kind that, I could take it to bank, but the kind that comes when your mind stops chasing. I think when I was 27 or 28 at that time, I think that's when I realized that this stillness is abundance. And later on, I realized that there are studies in contemplative neuroscience that show that long term meditators demonstrate increased gamma wave activity. And gamma waves are implicated with clarity, compassion, and awareness, especially in very, very deep resting states. So, if you interpret the data, it's obvious, even from a science point of view, that calm isn't the opposite of productivity. It actually is the source of meaningful productivity. So, let's think about it this way. In a world that never stops talking, your silence is your sacred contribution and connection. In a culture that rewards hustle and bustle, it's your stillness that embodies the wisdom. Trust me, you don't need another app, another hack, another push. You need to take a step back, you need to sit and to breathe. And to remember, real luxury is to be unrushed in your own presence. Not in unrushed in the world, but unrushed in your own presence. As the Vedas say, Atmanastu Kamya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. It is for the love of the self that all is loved. I will repeat again. It is for the love of the self, not personality, but the true self, that all is loved. Stillness brings you back to that self, your true self. And that is the abundance beyond measure. It's boundless abundance. Some contemplations that perhaps come to my mind that I could invite you to keep your company is you can ask yourself, when was the last time I truly felt still? Is my constant motion a distraction from something deeper that my soul is trying to get me to see? Or a simple question, what is the most powerful thing that I can do today? What if it's nothing at all? And find that stillness, allow for myself to show me whatever it needs to show me, for me to find my why, for me to find how me, the finite, boundary bound, is part of the infinite, and in stillness find eternity, immortality, presence, and connection. That is the promise of stillness. It truly is the greatest luxury.